Hello and welcome to the Big Dumb Networking Dude channel. It has been a minute since I last put out a video. Life has just been getting after it. I also had one of my servers that hosts my lab emulation environment, FMC ICE, implode on itself. So I've been having to rebuild that a bit. So, just things have kind of gotten away from me. But we are back today. Today we're going to be taking a look at a cool little feature or wizard within FMC 7.6 that allows you to kind of automate the SD-WAN fabric or overlay between different firewalls. So that's what we're going to be doing, and we're going to jump right into it right now. Before we get into the actual configuration, I kind of want to go over what this environment looks like and entails. So we have three sites, site 1, site 2, and site 3. Within those, site 1 is going to act as our hub, and then site 2 and 3 will be our spoke or branch locations as we set up this SD-WAN. Also to note, so all of the sites have reachability to one another, as you know, that would be needed to get this going. As you can see, we also have multiple ASs throughout this. I want to note that I tried to reuse a lab I was doing before where I was actually running iBGP between these CAT 8000s and the FTDs. That will not work. You cannot have BGP peering or enabled on your FTDs before you set up SD-WAN, and that is because that is actually going to set up a BGP overlay during that process, and if you have it already set up, those numbers are going to conflict. Or actually, to go further, I guess, the FTD does not allow for multiple ASs, within the same firewall. So that's just not going to work. So I had to go back in and ensure, the BGP was off on each one of these sites. Like I said, I do have full reachability, so I can kind of just show real quick. So what is this? This is we're in site 3 right now. So I mean, you can already see some of the pings up, but I'm able to ping at site 1 right there. This is, oh no, that was site 2. This is site 1. So because I'm able to ping that, you can assume reachability all across. I can also get out to the internet if I wanted to via that hub BGP. So yeah, I just wanted to establish the reachability, and we can go in and actually look at the configuration here in FMC. Before we do that, I do want to note a couple of prerequisites. So in order to utilize this SD-WAN wizard, you need to be running FMC 7.6. So you do have to kind of be running bleeding edge on this one in order to use that. Additionally, for sites that are going to be your hub, your firepowers also need to be running 7.6 as well. But for anything that is a spoke or your branch locations, those can actually be running 7.3 code. But as you can see in my environment, I'm running 7.6 across the board. Additionally, the FTDs are supposed to have internet routable public IPs. That's kind of to be expected to set up these tunnels. In this lab, I do not have that, but it should still work the same because we do still have reachability. And then, yeah, that's just about it with that. So in order to get this up and going, we're going to want to go to devices, and we're going to go site to site, and then we are going to click add. And then right here, we're given the different VPN topologies that we can create. And obviously, since we're here talking about SD-WAN, the SD-WAN topology is what we are interested in. And just to kind of talk real briefly on some of the benefits of using this wizard instead of trying to hand jam this, would be kind of way to automate the various configurations and parameters that are needed to stand up an SD-WAN overlay, such as the SVTI creation on the spokes. We can do IP address assignments for those spoke SVTIs, via the hub, the tunnel interface configuration, and VPN authentication settings, as well as that overlay routing parameters through BGP. And as we go through this, you're going to see there's about 4 steps that we go through, which is basically configuring the hub, configuring the spoke, setting up authentication, and then we do the SD-WAN settings. And one more thing to kind of note, and I'll actually jump back to this topology real quick, is get rid of this pane. So we're able to use during this process the hub as a route reflector, meaning that we don't have to establish a full mesh for this SD-WAN overlay. Because you could, as you can imagine, with this lab only having 2 different sites, not that big of a deal. You having, 40, 50, 100 sites or whatever, that could become more of an issue if you were trying to, peer with every single site, trying to create this full mesh fabric in a sense. So we are able to, again, use the hub as a route reflector, so we don't have to do that. And one more thing before we hop back over to the other screen, we do have the ability to create multiple hubs. So we can have a hub 1 and hub 2 that each has different spokes, different ASs that they are part of, and then we can still have that communication as a full SD-WAN overlay. We're not doing that in this lab. We're only going to do a single hub topology. So let's get back over to FMC, and I'll get off my soapbox. Now that my feet are firmly planted on the ground and off the soapbox, we can go ahead and get this configured. If you remember, we are in the FMC, devices, VPN, site to site, and we're about to add an SD-WAN topology. So let's go ahead and give it a name. Call it SD-WAN YT. Create. And so the first thing we got to do, as I said, there's 4 steps. Hub. Let's add our hub. Our hub is going to be our Site 1 HA. We are going to create our dynamic virtual tunnel interface. As you can see, a lot of this is kind of pre-populated for you. Security zone, I'm just going to give this outside. And then for the loopback address, we got to create a loopback for that. So I'm going to say loopback SD-WAN HA, loopback ID. I'm just going to go ahead and give this 100. And then we got to give it the address. I will give it 192.168.100. And we'll go 100. Why not? No, 10, sorry. And /32. Hit OK there. Hit OK. So now we have to create the spoke tunnel IP address pool. So let's create a new one for that. We will go ahead and say spoke. Yeah, we'll just use one of these. Spoke DHCP spool. Jesus. Spoke DHCP pool. And we'll do, let me see if I have one of these. Yeah, we'll do this one right here. We'll do, and I'll just go from 2 to 5. That's fine because we only have 2 spokes. So that's plenty of IPs. Make this /24. I don't know right now why they have this allow overrides ability to be checked, because I have tried to configure that before and it does not let you do it. So just maybe that will be a feature coming later on that allows you to actually configure overrides. So we'll save that. Oh, that already exists. We'll go 1 And then we'll actually call this 82. Save that. Add. So got that added. Next thing we do, we got to hit up our spokes. So we'll click next. And you have two options here. We have the add spokes bulk addition or add spoke individually. Adding them bulk is my preferred method. I think it's the easiest. So that's the one we're going to go to right now. As you can see, we already have our pre-populated FTDs that are available. So we're going to go site 2. We'll go site 3. And I have had some issues if I try to do this by security zone. So interface name pattern outside, that is what I call the outside interfaces on these firewalls that will be having the tunnel interface on it. So that's what we'll keep that as is. But, you know, if you named yours WAN 1, you know, whatever, it doesn't matter whatever this string is, so long as it matches across your devices that you're trying to do this automation deployment on. So next, they found those, so we're good there. So as you can see, these are the outside interfaces for that VPN interface. So we are good to go. I'm going to go ahead and hit next. Authentication settings. I'm going to just go ahead and let it do a pre-shared automatic key. If you were doing something with a dual hub, I believe you do actually need to do a pre-shared manual key to make sure that they are synced up across one another. But being that this is a single hub, single region deployment, not a multi-hub, multi-region, we're just going to go with automatic. And then next. And so I don't think I have a tunnel, so I'm going to create a new security zone, and I'm just going to call it tunnel zone. And I'm going to save that. Oh. Routed. Save that. And this will automatically add those VPN interfaces to this tunnel zone for you. You don't have to manually select that. And then so I'm going to say enable BGP. And yeah, we'll say, so community tag for this, we can just give it 1000. The autonomous system number, we'll go ahead and leave. I'm not using that anywhere else. Enable multipath for BGP, go ahead. So typically you probably would want to redistribute your connected interfaces. I'm not going to select that for this lab because I haven't messed with any of my internal LAN configurations yet, and I'm pretty sure they are all the same exact address space of 192.168.45.1, you know, /24. So I'm not going to click on that, but typically you would probably want to do that. Next. And this all looks good. Let's see if we can finish it up without any errors. Sweet. So our deployment is pending right now, so we'll give that a minute and then pick up once that is all deployed. And as you can see, the deployment was successful. Our 2 tunnels appear to be up. Let's look at that. Very good. We have 2 active tunnels. And then we should also be able to see on the actual firepower side. Let's go to, let's see what I have up. Yeah, let's do FTDB site 3. So if we do a, let's log in first. And do a show BGP summary. We should just have one neighbor, and it should be the hub right now. And that is established over the AS that we had set. So this is all up and working as expected. Typically, I will say typically, having a single WAN interface is not very SD-WAN-ish. If you had a second WAN, which I could have, I guess, set up in this lab, but did not, because maybe I'm just a little lazy, you would go through this same process again. So we would go through and create another topology, and then we could call this, call that SD-WAN YT-2, and we would use the second WAN interface on the hub and on the FTDs. It's the exact same process that we went through for this setup. You just need to do it another time for that second WAN. And of course, we can use different policies to do kind of traffic shaping and stuff like that. We're not going to get into that in this lab. I just wanted to show you how we can very easily get a SD-WAN fabric set up using the SD-WAN wizard in the FMC 7.6. And that wraps it up. That's all it was. Quick little video on getting SD-WAN set up. Hope you enjoyed it. As I mentioned in the intro, I've been, slacking a little bit on putting out videos. I'm hoping to get back into the swing of things here very shortly. I know I've said it before that I planned on doing that Catalyst Center on Proxmox. I also probably will do an ICE on Proxmox because I'm going to need that for an upcoming project. So more to come, hopefully very soon. But in the meantime, while you're out there in the world, just go ahead and keep labbing and stay classy.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!